my end, it's frozen. Oh no, here we go. So, good morning. It's morning here. I've had 2 coffees, so I'm a little bit awake. You're fine, Loretta. This is a mess, guys. Hi, Josie. Hi, Loretta. Yeah, where are they, Loretta? And I'm not even gonna. My thing is, these parents with Gabby. Hi, Kimmy Jean. Just before I start talking about all of that. Oh, thank you, Kimmy Jean. I love you too. My name's Sharon, for everyone that doesn't know. And I love coming on here and talking to everybody. I do. I just love it. I think you are all so special. And I do think we have the best little community here. We're all supportive of each other and positive, and we don't have any drama, and I love that, and I appreciate that you guys like that too. I just don't want it to be as stressful. Like, I don't want to anticipate stress when I come on, if that makes any, like, I know it's stressful, the situations we talk about and all the rest of it, but I don't think there's any need for us to all be attacking each other and coming on and this one said this, and I just don't want to be fighting with other creators and that sort of stuff. I know there's always going to be situations, but I love it that we keep it all pleasant and lovely, and thank you for helping us keep it that way. Absolutely. Eloise, where have you been? We haven't seen you for a few days. I was going to come back on. Hi, T. Riley. How are you? I was going to come on late last night, our time, which would have been like 6 a.m. your time. But there really wasn't anything happening as far as Gabby's case goes. And my brain just needed a little bit of a letdown, like calm down type thing, so I could have a decent sleep, because sometimes, and I guess you guys are the same, you just keep looking and listening and looking and listening, and you go to bed and your brain is still looking and listening. Even your subconscious is still going, and you can't really have a restful sleep. But I managed to do that last night for the first time in a couple of weeks. So I didn't even wake up during the night on the 2-hour mark to check updates and my phone. So I'm glad I got to do that, because it hasn't happened for a while. Oh, you've missed me. Oh, that's so sweet. Like, I feel like I'm starting to get withdrawals when I haven't been on. And I hope you guys look forward to it too. Hi, Sherry. This is crazy, guys. Yeah, we do need to look after ourselves as well. And I think we forget to do that sometimes. And when you're trying to do this and come on live, and you've still got it in the background, keep up to date with the updates and search and see what's happening. And I hate coming on when I haven't had time to have a sticky beak and see what's happening. And as you guys know, I'm not an investigator. This is purely for entertainment purposes only, and we just talk about things, and I don't have time to get into nitty-gritty little research things, but I do keep up to date with factual stuff that's coming out, and I try to be here constantly. If there's anything breaking, I will come on live and share, because there's a lot that happens over the scanners that a lot of people don't know about. So, sometimes I'll have one earbud happening with scanners, and I'm watching, 5 different news things on another earbud, plus I've got the laptop going and an iPad. So I don't just sit back and I'm not doing anything, as well as trying to look after 2 girls and a husband and keep up to date with washing and everything else that's got to happen. But I'm loving every second of it, guys. I think I've already made some beautiful friends, and I do think of you all as my little family of ducks. I've decided to go with ducks because Down Under Crime Talks is sort of like ducks, isn't it? So, yeah, well, the live I done yesterday, when all the people were out the front of the house and everything like that, that was crazy. So I had that live stream eventually going. It took me a while to be able to get to the right one. And then I had 2 different earbuds in my head. So I'm trying to listen to 2 different things and give you updates that are happening in the background, as well as a surface happening. Oh, it was just insane. And there were a few things said through the earbuds that I went to say, and I stopped, because I just, you just, like today, apparently there's been false information put out that there was a male's body discovered and it was a suicide. And from what I can see, it sort of went like wildfire, but it's not confirmed. And as Brian and somebody, a male, had committed suicide in that county, but it wasn't him. So, it still blows my mind how quick things can happen with technology. The people out the front of that house yesterday, we all knew, sitting back on the computers, that Brian wasn't in that house. But those poor people had no clue. They all thought, 3 hours later, he's still in the house, and they wanted to see the police dragging him outside. And I think we all sort of did for a bit. But then we got wind that he wasn't in that house. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You heard that as well over the scanner, Tina. Hi, Tina. I didn't say hello to you. Hi, Lucky13. Hi, Betty Boop. Oh, I don't know if I'm doing an excellent job, but I just enjoy coming on and being with you guys. Yeah, I think the ducks thing is cute. You know how everyone has their own little family sort of saying, and I've been thinking about it for a few days. And I think that's because a lot of people in chat will abbreviate me as DUCT. And I thought, oh, I'm a duck. And I think we might go with that. I'm never forgetting about summer either. I got a purple porch light in honour of summer. Oh, I've got to get to the hardware store, which is an hour away. And it was an hour in the opposite direction from where I went yesterday to have the sea shot. And they didn't have a hardware store open. So most of these little country towns in Australia, everything like the big shops, not the big shops, but like your local hardware and normal street shops, they all shut at midday on a Saturday. So We didn't have to be there till 12:30, and once we got there, everything was shut, so I couldn't get any. But I'm going to another town in the next couple of days, so I'm going to get a purple one, and I'll hopefully have a community page by then, and I can show you all, because we haven't forgot about summer, no way, shape or form. But the drama that's going on now, this is what happened with Oran and Awesome West. You know, after a certain period of time, things go quiet with the case, with updates and what's happening, and then creators get frustrated and they start getting cranky with each other, and there's drama. And this is exactly how it played out in the Awesome West, Oran and Awesome West case. Hi, Black Caddy. And I thought that case was crazy with drama. I'd never seen anything like it ever. And I didn't have a channel then, but some days I wished I did, just so I could come on and talk to people without all that craziness. So that sort of brought me to where we are today, and I started my own channel. So everybody's just, I love seeing the faces coming back in. I still need to get a light. Yeah. We had a girl, a local girl, it's about 3 years ago now, and in another small country town about an hour away, hour and a half away. And she was a school teacher, and it was school holidays. This is the saddest thing, guys. I'll do a little story on it tonight, maybe, because it's really sad. She was getting married the week after school went back to her longtime boyfriend. And on the Sunday before school went back, she went into school to get things ready for her classes because we have pupil-free days on the first Monday that kids go back to school. So she went into the actual physical school to catch up on some things and get her classroom ready and that sort of stuff, and was never seen from again. But they were onto it so quick, like it was solved in 3 days. So it turns out the cleaner that worked at the school was at the school that day. He abducted her from her classroom and took her out the road and essayed her and murdered her and tried to burn her body. And he took her in her own car, then dumped her car somewhere out in the woods and walked back to town. And we had a big thing, like with the purple, that's where I'm going with it, like the purple porch lights, everyone did yellow ones. And because she was due to get married a week after this happened, everybody, all the women who had wedding dresses hung their wedding dresses up on their front doors as well. And it was, yeah, I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. And it was just horrible. You know, her parents were just, and a whole family, her fiance, like you'd sit there watching the news, watching her fiance, and you'd just be sitting in your chair sobbing your little heart out. It was horrible. And then another really sad situation out of that was about 2 years later, after he was convicted and incarcerated, her dad, because her mum and dad had a rural farm property, her dad was working on the farm and there was a farm accident and he died on the farm. I can't remember if it was like a tractor accident or if it was a tree that fell on him or something, but what that family went through and are still going through, because just because it's solved and he's put in jail, they're still aching every single day. So, yeah, that's a little story about the yellow porch lights and the wedding dresses. And I had my patchwork and quilting shop at the time in our main street, and we all put yellow decorations in our windows and all this. It was just really, really special. Yellow balloons were just everywhere. Yeah, Josie, it was really horrible and sad. Like, we don't have a lot of, I think just in our local area, we might get, I don't know, 2 or 3 murders every 2 years or something. It's not a lot at all. So when something like that does happen around here, as is anywhere, it's devastating. It was, Charlie, it was really horrible. What her mum went through, and then lost her husband. Your son's just qualified as a teacher, started out of school. Yeah, so I think it can happen to anyone at any time. We just have to, and as much as I don't like to say this, these sort of offences are mostly towards females. And I'm not bagging out the male population in any way, but when SA is involved as the motive, then 98%, and this isn't a fact, it's just the way I look at the world, most of the time it's against a female and the male is the perpetrator. And guys, please don't come at me, but you have to be real about it. How many females go out to SA a male just for that reason and murder them? It's not a great percentage. Yeah, J Cash, it really is. It's pathetic. And it's hard as a female that has survived SA on multiple, I don't know what the word is, but not only with a family member from 3 till 12, but just other situations where you weren't game enough to say no and you just went with it, although it's not what you wanted, and it's not what you planned that situation was going to lead into. It's a beautiful little town, Sherry. We do have a great area. Yeah, so it does make you stop and think sometimes, why do females have to put up with this? Like, it's just not okay. Black Caddy, I wish we knew what was going to happen in the investigation. Oh, Loretta. My thing is, guys, I want to know what nobody has asked, from what I can see, is has law enforcement, let me know what you guys think, but has law enforcement actually physically seen Brian and uttered one word to Brian in person other than his parents? I haven't heard anybody say that law enforcement have physically cited and spoken with him, at least to say, hi, are you Brian? All we hear about is they have spoken to his attorney. They have spoken to his parents. I want to know whether they have physically seen Brian. And something really disturbing I just found before I come on, and I will cite the source because it come up in my feed, but this to me is huge, because we don't know if they have actually talked to Brian in person or cited Brian in person. I'll stop sharing that one. This is on, sorry, Voices Behind the Walls community post. And I will put it in the description share, and thank you for sharing it with our community. I'm not a huge fan of Share and Co, as you all know, but I will cite my source. Can you guys see this? Okay, so there was I'm all tongue-tied again. This second bit here. Also, your officers are personal friends with the laundry's cause. I don't know what the word cause is there. With the laundries. I think it's supposed to say because. Mrs. Laundry, are you listening, guys? Mrs. Laundry used to work in the DA's office. Isn't that interesting? Well, Juju, that's why I say, has anyone actually cited and spoken to him? I know the neighbours said they've seen him, so the photos I seen that come out yesterday of him walking down the street with flip-flops, I don't believe it was him, because I've gone through videos last night and I couldn't see any big tattoos on Brian's arms. And the guy in that photo that's walking up the street with headphones on and flip-flops had a big tattoo on his left arm. And if you have a look at photos of Brian, I haven't spotted a big tattoo on his arm. So I'm a bit iffy about whether that photo was actually Brian. The people that were outside the house yesterday said they had sighted him that morning, but I don't know. I just think now we're getting information that she's worked in the DA's office. So she's in that field where she communicates with law enforcement. Maybe they're just taking her word for what's going on. And you know another thing, and I'm going to say it, you know what else pissed me off beyond belief? This is a set of parents that will not speak about Gabby, who lived with them for 12 months, as her parents have said. But soon as they think that their son might be missing, who do they call? The same people they refused to talk to all week since the 1st of December, the 1st of September. I hope they feel like idiots, because they are idiots. No, that's not okay to me. Don't go calling the police about your son when you can't cooperate and hold your son accountable for this whole situation. And it's not just the US anymore. It's on our Australian news as well. And for it to become a big thing on Australian news, it's worldwide now. It's everywhere. So he can't hide forever. Yeah, the sister creeped me out a little bit, to be honest. And it's not a personal attack on her or anything, but yeah, she just didn't know what to say, I don't think. But she obviously knew more than she was letting out, Black Caddy. Heard a theory today that the cops sent the protesters to the house to rattle the laundries in hopes they'd reach out to the police. Probably. Like, that would rattle anyone if you had that many people at the front of your house. yelling and screaming. And that bullhorn lady, oh my God, she was relentless. When it first started, before I started streaming, there was a man on that bullhorn, and I thought he was intense. But that lady's voice, and apparently she was a neighbour. She lived right there, and she wasn't giving up. And he's been in hiding since Tuesday. Yeah, but has he? Like, we don't really know. We're only going on. That's why I keep coming back to who has law enforcement actually talked to him in any way, shape, or form, or seen him in person. And the guy that did the interview on the phone yesterday, holy moly, did he cop it afterwards? The internet went off its head with his attitude, the way he was aggressive and flying back at people. And maybe he is a little bit defensive because he knows that Mrs. Laundrie has a connection to law enforcement and the justice system. That's why they're so switched on, guys, with the way they're playing their cards. Like, that makes total sense that she goes straight for an attorney and everything else because she knows this stuff. Yeah. You know the intuitive lady I played weeks ago on Summer's case? She's got a new video out on Gabby, and oh my God, I'll play it later tonight for you because she loses her shit in that video. She's not happy. And it's intriguing what she says with such detail. And yeah, she has like a little mini breakdown halfway through. And if no one but the parents have seen him since he got back, he could have a 2-week head start running instead of just a 4-day lead. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, but it makes sense to me now that I've seen this post that they have connections to law enforcement. But Josie, he's supposedly missing, so they don't mind running to law enforcement when it's their family, but they still won't talk about Gabby. And the guy in this, I'm going to play this. I don't know if you've all seen it. Oh, where are we? No, I've lost it. I've even been on these trail cam. Have you guys seen them? So you can go to Snake River trail cams, and they have live cams, and they also have libraries. So you can go back and click on a specific date, whatever date you like, and you can sit there and watch 24 hours of footage day after day after day. I don't have time to do that, but I'm in a Reddit group where people have been allocated different days, and they are just sitting there going frame by frame by frame through trying to spot that van, and it's intense. And these people, you know, they haven't slept for 2 days because they're just watching these cams in the libraries. Well, apparently, Loretta, that's why the police went to that house yesterday, was because the family called law enforcement and they wanted to say they didn't know where he was. You know, who knows? They've probably got him. He could have left the country if he has been gone since Tuesday. And as the sheriff, and not the sheriff, this guy that I'm going to play in a minute said yesterday, I think they know it. Yeah, of course they do. it's quite telling the way the guy, he sort of insinuates to the reporters. I'll play it. Was anybody totally tripping out on the chanting mob? Yes. Oh, Black Caddy, it was. When they were right up at the front door, I was like, oh, no way, you're not allowed to do that, guys. Get back on the sidewalk. Because you're allowed to do it on the sidewalk. That's your constitutional right. It's just sad that they will not say one word about Gabby, but the first people they call is law enforcement to get help, supposed help, in finding their son. That's what I was going to say just a minute ago and I lost it. So it's gone again. Oh my God. I think I'm getting dementia. That's where the FBI got a search for Gabby. That's what I was going to say. So if they do find him, this is the bit that irritated me beyond belief. So just say he's sitting out in the bush, guys, and he's under a tree, under two trees with his precious hammock, and he's there. What are they going to do when they get him? Nothing. They're taking him home to his mummy and daddy. Like, what the actual... Does that not make sense to you guys? Because I can't get my head around that side of things. You know? If he's a person of interest, they should have had eyes on him constantly because of this reason, firstly. But he's done nothing wrong because there's no criminal act that's been proven just yet. So Gabby's, in their eyes, just a missing person. That's all they legally can say right at this minute. So even if they do go out there and they're using all these resources, they will tell you they've got drones, they've got searchers, they've got four-wheelers, everything out looking for this guy. And when they get him, they're taking him home to his mummy and daddy. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't to me. Gabby's parents said he ran and isn't missing. No, he's not missing, he's hiding. And his parents said that that's the place he would go, out to this forest place where they're all searching right now. He's probably in a hotel somewhere living 5 stars for all we know. I know, I want to know that too, Juju. Surely they can be held responsible for interfering in an investigation and impeding law enforcement. Hi, Chantel. Hi, Brandon. Gabby was a domestic abuser. And I don't know. None of us know exactly. Hi, Sandy. How are you? I'm good. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm off my tree. Brandon, do you want to elaborate on your comment that Gabby was a domestic abuser? Because just because the girl was irritated, if the law enforcement thought she was a domestic violence, if that was a domestic violence situation, wouldn't they have arrested her? If roles were reversed, this is Brandon H. And Gabby fled after being abused by Brian. Oh, it's gone. Come back up here. She would be called stunning and brave. I don't know, Brian. I don't think that's a true portrayal of this, of what's really going on right now. So I don't think so at all. they can figure out a charge to hold him. Do you think so, 910? What are they going to hold him with, though? But I have noticed in the last hour that they have confirmed they have both Brian and Gabby's cell phone tech back. So that might shed some more light on whereabouts, when, where, how, that sort of stuff. It is amazing how much stuff they can get through cell phone tech. Yeah. Where are we? If you have something to hide, for sure. Watch the body cam. This is Brandon H. again. Eyewitness says, and Gabby herself admitted, yeah, she was emotional. And I'm not trying to underplay this, Brandon. He did have scratches. I fully understand what you're saying. But he could, I know exactly what you're saying. I'm just finding it hard to verbalize what I'm thinking. We all have moments where we get anxious and upset, and it would have to be so hard. Like I said the other day, I'm in the car with someone for, 6 hours even. I'm starting to pull my hair out and get irritated. So it'd have to be, I'm not justifying anything, Brandon. Please don't get me wrong. Yeah, that was a bit of a situation. But we don't know what Brian had been doing either, So she was emotionally distressed, and she admitted that she'd hit him and grabbed the wheel and stuff. But that doesn't warrant the fact that she's now missing and what's happening. She could have, but yeah, we just don't know the whole story. No, we can't, Shannon. Hi, Shannon. How are you? Hi, May Hazel. I agree, Brandon. That's the facts of the case that we know. I also believe there's a lot we don't know. And I've got to get these other screens set up, guys. And we base our instinct on experience. Not always correct, but fine to discuss. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. But why would you come home on the 1st of September without her, with no explanation, no communication with her family whatsoever? And that's fact. They have confirmed that he did come home on the 1st, but everyone is going easy on her domestic abuse because she is a woman. It's sick they're defending her. Well, I think we're defending the one that hasn't been seen for 18 days. And the other one's alive and well, supposedly somewhere, hiding. That's the reality of it. I'm not doing any victim bashing here, Brandon. No, it's not okay that she hit him. I'm not saying it's okay. That's not what I'm trying to say. What? So you're a female hater? Is that where we're going with this, Brandon? No matter what anybody says, it's going to be Gabby's fault that she's missing and hasn't been seen from for 18 days. Are you kidding me right now? So think about this, Brandon. If a female whacked you and scratched your arm and was having a hormonal breakdown and you killed her, she deserved it. Is that what you're saying, mate? I'm not, do not come in here and bag Gabby out. Because in saying that is, to me, is like saying that Summer deserves to be missing also. I just don't understand. It's going to come out. Apparently, I'm not defending abuse. I acknowledge that she smacked him one or whatever and scratched him, but we're not victim blaming, Brandon. I'm not saying it was hormonal either. We do not know whether she had mental health issues, but going on the interviews with her family and friends, she wasn't on medication or anything like that. But normal narcissists are gaslighters, and they will make you think you're crazy and your mind cannot stand up to them, and there are outbursts. I'm not going to get into a tit for tat thing here, but if you want to keep bagging Gabby out, it's probably not the room for you at all. It's not okay. This is a classic case of narcissism. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, Eloise. Oh. And his parents know exactly what he's really like too. Yes, Brandon, whatever you want to. Just because I said hormonal, I don't know what her period was like. Either do you. I'm just saying, do not bash the victims. Whether it was male or female, we're not getting into that argument. I'm starting to have anxiety right now. So you're gaslighting me because you know that it's upsetting me. So are you a narcissist too, Brian? I'm all for discussing things. And yeah, I could just hit the block button, but whatever you want to do. Of course, they lived under the roof too. Yeah, exactly, 910. She lived with them for 12 months prior, so I just can't believe even that in itself, that she's lived with them. She's been more than just the girlfriend. She's actually lived in their home. That's her residential address, and they can't disclose one word about her. That's so sick. Jenny Turner, hello. If Gabby had mental issues, she would have been protected, not hurt. He took her license to keep her from going out with a friend. Yeah, I did see that, Sherry. He didn't like her not being with him. We don't know if she is a victim, is a point. Summer is because she's a minor. Yeah, I realised that, but I was just trying to get the point across that we're not going to blame victims for their situations. And yeah, I agree, Packless Jones, 100% agree that there's a difference between a minor and an adult. was losing it there for a little bit. I'll say this. I was a victim of severe domestic abuse and he almost killed me twice. He did the same thing, accused me of being crazy and diminished anything and everything I was. And that's exactly how it works in both sexes. I'm not going to say just because you're female that happened to you, because there are women that can do the same thing. And if I just don't think it's okay. The things I've read and seen with different things that have been said and role plays of different creators against Shanann Watts and victim blaming is, I'm just not here. Please don't do it. I can't. Because if any of you know what I'm talking about with a couple of these creators mimicking Shanann Watts and her babies, I cannot even look at their channels. No, don't. Oh, makes me sick, like to the point where I could physically vomit. How could you? We are a good chat every life. We respect others. Yeah, I don't mind healthy discussion, but I'm not going to stand for saying that everyone's seen the body cam footage. Everyone understands that she could have been charged with domestic violence. The officer did, I thought he was really, really thorough and logical, and he was only looking out for both of them by not charging her, you know. Because as he said, you're 22-year-old. This is going to be, you know, on your record, da-di-da-di-da. So he was trying to look out for both of them by separating them. And in my opinion, he did a really good job. The only thing that I have said about that body cam footage is I was a bit, because she was so emotional and distraught and she just looked petrified, that he sent her off by herself in the van and took him to a motel. And I would have thought it would have been better to do it the opposite, but I'm not criticising the cops. That's, as a female cop, that's probably the way I would have went about it. Take a closer look at the video, Sharon. She is an abused woman. Yeah, and a lot of the time it doesn't have to, we all know this, it doesn't have to be a black eye or, you know, broken arm or anything like that. Emotional abuse is just as devastating as physical abuse. Like, as a child, I would rather get, so my stepfather used to use jug cords, like kettle cords, or an egg flip or something like that to whop us with. And I would have preferred that than being yelled at, you know, because the mental abuse sort of got to me more and stayed with me longer than the physical abuse. Yeah, it was. It was like they were little besties. I don't think the officers read that situation correctly. Gabby was too upset to drive, and she even said she doesn't usually drive. Yeah, that's what the bit I found weird, that she's in a state and he's over there laughing and joking with the officers and having a great old time. But yeah, Gabby, you're distraught. Off you go. Go out into the desert by yourself in a van when 2 women have been murdered. Yeah, no worries. You'll be fine. Yeah, that to me was a little bit weird, but I feel after seeing social media for them and the incident cop cam, they both mentally abused each other in different ways. Yeah. Well, the friend, she said that she couldn't give specific numbers, but she said once they become close, there was at least 7 times where there'd been arguments and she'd gone to stay with her friend for overnight or whatever because they were not getting along. So, plus the cops basically told Brian where she would be, not smart or safe for Gabby. No. Tammy Fraser. Hello. I was wondering the same thing. She told cops she was afraid to be alone. Yeah. She wanted to be with Brian because even though they were having an issue, she still at that time felt safe. If he left to go home and then came back to her, what did Gabby do all that time alone? Yeah, it's just crazy. But why did he go home on the 1st and put all her stuff into storage as well? Like someone has said on one of the other channels that his mum and dad are currently going through a divorce. I don't know, like they was chatting about, if the kids, like Brian and Gabby, had to move out of the house or something at some point as well, and that's why all the belongings were taken to a storage shed. I have no idea. I think it was a young, intense, toxic relationship, being around each other 24/7, exactly, Shannon, but does not warrant, where are we? But does not warrant killing or leaving her or whatever happened. Yeah. I could not spend so much time with someone in a tiny van. It would make me nuts. Me too. That's what I was saying. I can go for an hour-long drive with hubby, and it's good now with technology because I can put my earbuds in and I don't have to listen to his radio channels. And this guy is so obsessed with football. It is insane. He will watch 14 games of footy over the weekend. And like yesterday, we went for a drive. He will have football playing on the radio. And it used to drive me insane, but it doesn't bother me now because I listened to Judy on my day trip yesterday. But little things like that is my point. It can irritate you to the point where it builds up, and then you're just like, are you serious? And it becomes a thing. And that's only a day thing. Imagine being, like a lot of you guys probably have done camping trips where you're in a van or something for days on end and have more understanding of it. We're not big camper travelers, so I don't know how intense it could be, but I could imagine just on my day trip type things how frustrated I get. And there was a lot of cops there for that body cam footage too. I think I seen 4 at one time. Very disturbing. Anyway, I'm going to play this little interview because there was something on the second one. Oh, where'd it go? This second one is interesting to me. Just the way he answers a couple of the questions, like he'll say, and you guys have probably seen it, but we'll just play it so I can duck off to the ladies' room. Some stuff said by the cops were not appropriate. Yeah, I agree, Packless. got snowed in my partner of 2 years in a crappy hotel on a trip for 4 days with nothing to eat but vending machine food. Oh my God. That would have been stressful. No, not one female cop. She would have sussed them out real quick. Yeah, I agree, Jen. Sometimes you do just need a female's objective, because a lot of the times males don't get the female psyche and how we work. And that's not an excuse, Mr. Brandon, if you're still here. I'm not saying it's a pass. I'm just saying this is how we are sometimes. It's a fact. That is a fact. There was a female park ranger. Yes, it was obvious to me from what I've seen. Gabby had no confidence, which is a shame. Brian also lacked confidence and the strength to support her blogging career. He seemed a bit jealous of her. I don't know what it is, and I cannot put my finger on it. I wish I could work out what my brain is trying to tell me, but there is something about Brian. And yes, I agree with you, Pippi, that for such a strikingly gorgeous girl, it's still, because I've always been a chubby one, and hi Liz, hillbilly hearts in the house. You know, if you're not the best looking person, I think it's easier to understand that they have self-confidence issues. But when you look at Gabby, I just think, how could she not have confidence in her physical figure and her beauty? But it's not about that to each individual, is it? You know, it's how they feel inside about themselves. But there is something about Brian, and it's not coming to me yet, but there's something hidden in there with this guy. And I'll see if I can find it while we're on here in live. Some of his Pinterest stuff, I've screenshotted this stuff on my phone, and usually if maybe you guys can help me. Usually if I screenshot things on my phone or I take a photo on my phone, it goes to my Google account. So if I go to Google on my laptop, everything I've just taken on my phone is on my laptop, Google Photos and screenshots and everything. And for some reason, that is not happening. And I can't work out why it's not doing it. So half of the stuff I wanted to show you is on my phone, and it's not showing up in my OneDrive Google thing. How are you, Liz? I'm sorry I haven't watched much of your stuff the last 2 days. I've just been flat out. You've just started watching the body cam footage for Gabby. Gonna try to have something out tonight for tomorrow morning. Oh, that'll be fabulous. Yeah, we've been discussing, Liz, just prior to you coming in, about how emotionally distressed Gabby was in the footage, and they sent her off on her merry little way to be by herself, distressed and all, and took him to a hotel. And oh, you've only seen 16 minutes. Yeah, well, that's what happens in the end. I'm sorry to spoil the movie, but you probably know that anyway. I've been slow this week due to everything. I will catch up though, Liz, because I love the way you can tell a story and explain things, and I learn a lot. Yeah, I can't put my finger on it, Black Caddy. And it reminds me of someone else, and I can't put my finger on that either. Does anyone know, because I haven't looked it up, does anyone in the chat know how much older than her he is? Like, I know she's 21, but I haven't come across how old he is. I don't know, Gen F. They were supposed to yesterday be towing that Mustang away, but I don't know for a fact whether that happened or not. Yeah, and she thinks she's calm. I was like, I know. She doesn't look 22. I was saying this yesterday. She just looked like a little teenager. Okay, so yeah, your girlfriend's not home with you, but let's go and save money by cleaning out a storage unit. It's crazy, isn't it? Hey, Priscilla. I do love that name too. A year older, is that all? He looks a lot older than that, doesn't he? Maybe it is Chris Watts that he reminds me of, just with he's smiling and, his over eagerness to be having a laugh with the police. I don't know. There's just something. It'll come to me about 3 o'clock in the morning. Something about him that Gabby missing certainly took the direct heat and attention off John and Candace. I'm so disappointed there have been no updates in pressure. I know, Pippi. I am going to need your help one of these days. No problem, Priscilla. I'm sorry I haven't been on the email the last 2 days. But the girls are on school holidays now, and the younger one, the little summer one, I call her, because she is so much, reminds me of summer every time I look at her. She's gone to her dad's for a week, so I'll have more time to spend on here and catch up with everything. But yeah, absolutely, I will help you wherever I can. He seems more confident. Yeah, too smiley as well. He smiles way too much, and that's a little bit scary. He reminds me of Laurie Barrel. Oh yeah, very charismatic. But Liz, that's what narcissists are like, aren't they? They're like, what's that word? They're just so charismatic. With this bizarre influence, a book called Lullaby doesn't sound good. His Pinterest stuff is still up there, and there's some artwork. I'll try and find it shortly, and it's dark. Like, it's really, really dark artwork with red painted. It just, as soon as I seen it, I had goosebumps all over me. I think the only completely honest thing he said to cops is when he dropped the theatre and said, she's just crazy. He meant that. So it does. Oh dear. Oh, this is driving me crazy, this laptop. So it throws a curveball in there for me. Yeah. Ted Bundy? Yeah, he's a narcissist. He wasn't he, Liz? Liz would know more about his. And he was so charismatic, even to the point of defending himself. Narcissist people are very much chameleons and could sell an ice cube to an Eskimo. Absolutely. His brain isn't missing but hiding. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. He's not missing, but it's a throw off for time, are my thoughts. His parents know where he is. It's they couldn't be that stupid to call law enforcement because they don't know where he is, when I would feel like such a douche making that phone call when I won't cooperate with the other resident and supposed family member that's not accounted for. She had said that Don had said he knows. I haven't seen. Don had said he knows where Summer is. It could be hearsay. I haven't been on Cher's channel. I just seen what I shared earlier come up in the community posts about Mrs. Laundry working for the DA. So I haven't seen anything about Donald on Cher's stuff. You're explaining my ex-husband to a T. Everyone thought he was a great guy, but behind closed... Yeah, and that is the thing. None of us, nobody knows. That's the scariest part of all. What someone is really like when their doors are shut. It just... I've seen so many people that you think are just lovely, decent, beautiful people, and then they break up, and then you get what really happened. Yes, we do, Black Caddy. We need all these. The similarities still blow me away between Jacqueline and Trezelle West and Donald and Candace Wells. You know, they were both, the kids were in the yard. They both used similar phrases, exactly the same phrases in their media interviews. Well, Jacqueline and Trezelle only ever did one interview. And that's going on 9.5 months now with those little boys. Let's not bring up Cher and her shenanigans. No, I'm not going there either, Eloise. It's just, I think we've all had enough of it. If you want to watch it, go over there, and same with Skeezy. It's just draining, and this stuff is also emotionally charged. You don't need all that. Mandy's not talking to Cher's, and Cher's setting up Mandy, whatever. Like, keep it in your own lane. Why do you even have to put it on YouTube? Except you love those views. It's not relevant. It's not something that I want to occupy my day with all day, every day, is listening to all the trivial bullshit that you guys fight about when it's supposed to be about Summer and Gabby and the Oren and North and West and every other, Michael Vaughan. Let's not forget about Michael Vaughan either, guys, because that's still a big, big mystery. And it's not about economics. The Ramseys were the same way. Yeah. It is training. That's what I was saying. Last night's the first night in a couple of weeks where I actually got to have a decent straight through sleep without waking up to look at my phone. We can't talk about it. She's dangerous. I think all that scenario of creators are just going down a really dark path. And I don't want us to be like that over here, as you know. I just want to do us and have our own way of doing things without getting involved in all that crap. Ironic that Watts and girlfriend and Gabby and Brian both went to the dunes in Colorado. Yeah, I've been looking. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I was never really good in geography as a child student. So last night, in in bed, I was going through all the states of America and seeing what states are near what state. Like, I did a big geography type thing to try and get my head around where they were, where they lived. And your country is absolutely huge, you guys. Like, I know you guys know that, but wow. And you know where a lot of their photos were taken, you know, with them beautiful big lakes and stuff, and the high mountains in the background in a lot of Gabby and Brian's photos. It reminds me of Colorado, not Colorado, reminds me of Canada in the photos I've seen of Canada. Yeah, I like, guys, if there's something, just say there's a consensus in our chat on something we want to talk about tomorrow. Feel free to send me an email. I'll pop it in here, or an inbox on Facebook, because I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And with questions and stuff. I just can't wait to get this community, type again, community post, so I can do polls and things like that. So you guys can actually have a say in what we're doing the next day and that sort of thing. I think that'll be so helpful. Did the email come up? I wouldn't speak their name. Animal abusers have a special super hot place in hell. Yep. It's big, but we forget living here now how big, how many people too. Yeah, I know your population is. But yeah, I think that would be great if you wanted to sort of help me plan for the next day. I know it depends on what's going on when we're not on a live, but, you know, just say there's an update and you think it would be a great point for discussion the next day. Shoot me an email and I can get them up on here and we can address them and make it more interactive. And I said, oh my God, he has issues. Yes. Where did I just, oh, Latte Dart is in the house. Oh no, it's Brandon. I did see him pop back in actually. If the roles were reversed and Gabby fled after being abused by Brian, she would be called stunning and brave. Yeah, we know, Brandon. We know how you feel about that. Move on. I will find you on Facebook so we can talk sometime, Sharon. No worries at all, Sherry. I think he plays on the fence. Maybe that's what it is, Jenny. I can't pinpoint it yet. I don't know what it is. It hasn't come to me yet, but maybe that's what it is. Oh, great job, Hillbilly Heart. You can deal with Brandon right now because he's been doing our head in. Brandon, there are definitely indicators I see where she definitely the aggressor for that abuse. I think they were toxic and codependent together, absolutely, which generates jealousy and other high emotions. And guys, you've got to think about their age too. You know, like they're really young and I'm not, please don't misconstrue what I'm saying as excuses or trying to justify anything, because I'm not. I'm just saying factors that can play into relationships. And believe me, I'm not super wise on relationships either. I'm lucky. I praise the Lord every day that I was given the best man on earth because he treats me like a princess. If I said I wanted to go to the moon next week and you need to get me access to a rocket, he would bend over backwards to get that rocket. Like, I'm being over dramatic here, but I'm trying to explain how deeply he will support me and try to make everything I want in life to come true. And I'm not talking about just materialistic things either, you know. And that's the sad bit, that where Gabby says in that body cam footage that he wouldn't support her with a blog, that sort of broke my heart, because like, we've been married 32 years and there's never been a time where hubby hasn't wanted to support what I'm doing. So this is just a little example of that. I was having a really, really hard time mentally, and I'll own this and discuss it, because I know you guys don't mind me just saying how things are for me. But we've had as you know, the regulars in here know, we've had our 2 granddaughters for 7 years. And about 12 months ago, because I closed my patchwork and quilting store that I had down in our main street, because I just mentally and physically couldn't keep up with. And being a patchwork shop, it's not just like you have a store, you open your doors, and at the end of the day, you close your doors. You have to have samples, you have to be having kits made up, and it's full on. Like, it doesn't stop. So mentally, physically, I couldn't keep up with everything that the girls needed and the shop and everything. So I just sacrificed the shop. I closed the shop. And yes, I have all my fabric and all my everything, my big long arm sewing machine in my studio. But then there was a void in life, because I was used to that adult interaction in my shop and seeing everybody and the emotional support that my customers, they just pop in just to say hi and have a cuppa. And, you really need that as an adult. So the last 12 months, I've really struggled with just being at home all the time. And then you put the C into it all, and it puts another layer on with lockdowns and the stress of all of that. So mentally, I wasn't doing okay. So then I was talking to a friend. I'm sorry, guys, this is a lot. And she said, because I needed to be able to do something that I could do like have adult interaction, but in the hours of the day when the girls were at school, if that makes sense. So they said, why don't you do a teacher's aid course, like a school learning support officer? And I thought, that's a really good idea, because I can do that, obviously, in school hours, da-di-da. And I got all excited. I went and signed up. I've done, I'm halfway through the course, and I thought, that's exactly what I want to do. I'm going to do that, because then I'm off school holidays. I'm off when school finishes. But then I've come across YouTube and this community, and it's fulfilling all the adult interaction I needed. And you guys, believe me when I say you help me so much, because it's filling that void where I don't feel like I'm by myself anymore. It's blowing my mind how dependent I'm becoming on chatting with you all and being here with you all and forming. And I look at it as friendships. Like, please don't think I'm just sucking up so that you come in here, because that's not what it is at all. I genuinely am finding more benefit out of being on here than I ever dreamed. And like having Liz in here and she can clarify things with us, and we'll have to get it back up on panel. Anytime you want to come up, Liz, just let me know, and you can, any of you. We had Shannon up the other day. That was fun. It helps when I need to do this toilet break and stuff like that as well, guys. I haven't had, I do Saturday. I was thinking of doing a channel just for this, actually, like another channel, just to have like a sewing type one where you can share your projects and do all that sort of stuff, just because I'm loving this so much. But yeah, it was a lot. And there was a really big void when I closed the business and come home, because you do miss, just having an adult conversation instead of talking to the dogs and yourself and things like that. They're not blankets, Priscilla. Oh my God. You'll be timed out for calling a quilt a blanket. My God, I'm joking. They're quilts. Yeah, lots of people call them blankets. I should show you some. Too many. Oh, thank you, Priscilla. Yeah, I had sewing last night with one of my girlfriends. She comes every Saturday night and we stitch together, and she's so funny because she's trying to be supportive of my YouTube journey, and she'll text me. She works at a hospital in the office full time, and she'll text me after work, and how many subs have you got today? Because she knew how excited I was to get to 1,000 subs. You're just popping in. Aww. Miss Justice, hello. She's such a great help to me, Miss Justice. Yeah, so last night I was, do you know what it's like trying to explain to someone who does not come on YouTube the shenanigans and the craziness that goes on between these creators? Like, she was just sitting there, like, I don't think she breathed for about 16 minutes. She was like, what? And I showed her a little bit of no thanks' meltdown, and she was just like, and you're enjoying it? Like, she doesn't get it whatsoever. But she understands. She always wants to know what's happening with Summer. Tell me any updates. She'll text me a couple of times a week. Is there anything? But she does check my Facebook and stuff like that. Yeah, Miss Justice is fabulous. She does a lot for a lot of creators too, guys. And thank you, mods, for always being in here. I'm 5 minutes behind. I had to start listening from the beginning. It's possible his fam sent the police to search Carlton Reserve, but Brian is somewhere else. That's where I never thought he was at that reserve to begin with. I just think it's a wild goose chase to give him time to go in the opposite direction. If it is true, I'm not saying it's true that his mother worked for the DA like is going around, but she knows boats. Let's put it out there. If that is fact, then she knows more about the system than probably any of us do. Sharon, I have to get rid of a lot of sewing stuff, brand new whole closet full. My mum-in-law can't use and overput. Oh my God, Shannon. You'll have to let me know what she's got to get rid of and I can buy it off you. Because I'd be happy to do that. Like, my studio, guys, I have bolts upon bolts upon bolts of fabric. It's insane. But being a patchworker, I don't know if you guys know a lot about patchwork, but each line of new fabric is usually limited edition. So if you don't get that fabric when it first comes out and it sells out, you don't get it again. So it becomes an addiction in itself that you have to have these fabric ranges. And hubby doesn't understand that I have 300 bolts of fabric in my studio plus tub upon tub of other fabric, but I still have to go and get this new line of fabric that was just released last week. He doesn't understand that. Because who can say no to more fabric? Absolutely, Jen. If you must get it. A lot of people who don't do patchwork just don't get it. This is the best chat group thank you, Hillbilly Heart. Yeah, it's not all technical. I don't pretend to be an investigator and, Sherlock Holmes in the research side of things. It's just to talk about just the cases and our lives and how things relate to each other in our lives, because we all have a background and our own story that gives us an outlook on things in these cases that we can relate to, and that's what makes it so personal, I feel. No, there's other than drama created, Jeannie, I haven't come across anything new, like fact-wise on summer. When I get off, I'm going to do some digging, but it just, I don't know, the last few days, it's just all creative stuff that's going on in the background. Although, I don't know if you've heard the end of my live the other day where I had a little warning for a certain person that was in my chat the day before, and there's been, you have probably noticed on a few other creators' channels that they've been very stressed and very scared, and I became one of them as well, because there was a certain person who was intimidating and threatening, and he's an important person in the Hawkins County community. And I will say who he is now, and if you see him in the chat, and I don't see him, just let me know, but he's out of here. His name is Jeffrey Barrett, and yeah, he has been threatening Nita's World, and he starts off being quite nice in the chat, but then the closer creators get to topics about land transfers and who's related to who and that sort of stuff, there is there's nasty stuff coming from this man, and none of us were being open about this because everyone was just a little bit freaked out, and some of us were more freaked out than others, because this guy is a commissioner in Hawkins County, but there's a creator that has fully exposed him on a long YouTube video, and he's out there and he's been exposed and called out for it. So I don't have any drama in saying who he is. So we just need to be wary. If he does come in here, he will firstly try to, and this is what he done when he first come in our chat the other day, he tried to run Nita down from Nita's World in our live and say that she's, we should report her because she's benefiting off Summer's disappearance for monetary gain and da-di-da-di-da. And obviously doesn't want Nita to continue doing what she's doing. And that's what he's been trying to do to a lot of other creators too, is to cause more hate for Nita, because Nita is on this research stuff with a passion, and she's not going to stop. So I read that Barrett Dude has 3 screen names. Yes, apparently he does. Miley. Hi, Miley. I haven't seen you in here before, so welcome. And guys, if there's anyone new that's not subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and like. That would be fabulous for our little family. Wow, you all really caught the brunt of it last week. I haven't seen his name on any of the nastiness I got. No, this was like a really targeted the way this guy's attitude is, he's not worried about what's being said about Summer or the case. It's the research directions it's going in that he doesn't like, Liz. He doesn't like the fact that land titles are being researched and investigated, and people such as the sheriff, and is there a connection between Sheriff Lawson and Donnie Lawson, who found Carly Trent when she was kidnapped? There's all these things that are interlinked that this man doesn't want to be uncovered. So it's not about the nastiness we all copped about the alleged findings that were released about the boys. You know, that didn't seem to bother this guy whatsoever. Thank you, Sharon. I usually lurk. Oh, my God. Now, guys, I want to address this because I have no clue how this happened. I got an email and it said I had to fill out this stuff because I have said from day one I wanted, thank you so much, MK. I appreciate it, but I don't know how I did this. And I'm not, like you guys know, I'll own my stuff. I don't know how these yesterday I was on a live and somebody said there was a super chat. And I said, I don't have super chats. And I didn't think I did. But during the week, I thought I was filling out a thing for the community tab and stuff because it said, congratulations, da-da-da. And I'm trying to do 10 different things and trying to get a kid ready to go to a dad's for a week. And I was just like fiddling. But obviously I've clicked on done something. I don't know. But the super chat thing is there. But it wasn't intentional, and please don't come at me because it's there, but I don't know what I did. But thank you so much. I'm just learning every single day, and you guys know that I'm slowly working this stuff out. But yeah, because I had an argument. Yes, I'm like, I don't have super chats. Who said there's a super chat? Because I didn't even know I had it. Yeah, I knew you could do all that, Miley, after you got 1,000, but all I wanted the 1,000 for was to get this community tab and so I can stream off my mobile. I don't want, because a lot of people have given Nita such hate for monetizing her channel. And I can understand, like, she pays big money for documents, and I don't know why people just go for channels that are monetized that, oh, they're only in it for the money. Like, I don't understand when you've got huge multi-million-dollar companies that, I don't know, it's all just controversial, but I don't want any hate about it. Like, that's not what I want. It is a very friendly chat, lots of intelligent and common sense comments. I have sub, but I am in the UK, so it will only be about, it doesn't matter where you are. I really appreciate you, May Hazel, coming in. And when I don't sleep, I often come on at different times. So you will come across me at different times as well. But I didn't schedule this one yesterday. So a lot of people, what I know with the few channels that I religiously watch, if I see their scheduled thumbnail come up, I'll hit the reminder and it'll come up. They do need to go to jail, Jeannie. But yeah, I'm still blown away with the fact that Shares' statement about not complying with the cease and desist actually was Share complying with the cease and desist. Oh, thanks, Shannon. But I am really here just for the right reasons. I'm really glad you found us too, May Hazel, because you seem like one of our sort of people. You know, really lovely. And what's going on with Mr. Flute Man? Mrs. Sharon, have you heard of Baby Mackenzie from Tennessee? I don't have her last name, but just Google Baby Mackenzie, Tennessee. I'm going to write that down right now, Myla. No, I haven't heard of Baby Mackenzie. Where's my pen? I always have notes and papers. Baby Mackenzie, Tennessee. I followed Baby Evelyn from the very first interview with Ainsley Daniels and Megan Boswell, and that just broke my heart. I still can't get past that one. And they found little baby Evelyn. I was as addicted to the baby Evelyn story as Summer and Awesome Boys and Cash Gurn and all of these crazy, like, they get to your heart and they get to your soul where you physically want to go to these places and help look for them. And they ended up finding, it was the only day I'd left the house with baby Evelyn's case, and it was my birthday. And they found her in that shed on my birthday. So the 2 birthdays I've had since, all day I think of baby Evelyn. And that's okay, you know. I would rather sit there and think of her than but it's all gag ordered, so we don't know details on that. So I'm hoping they have they let us into the courtroom when that's televised, like that it is televised. My mind had not registered that. I've come check your channel at night here to see if you're on. Don is way too confident and police behind. This would be bananas. Yes. Well, Don has tried to portray that he's only been in the area for 13 years because he come to look after his mama when she was dying and not well. But now we all know that he has a history to that place beyond belief with who he is actually related to. Oh, the fake crying. And the sunglasses and you can tell from interviews, can't you? Like you look at these media interviews and see the way they carry themselves and their body language, and not that we're all experts, but in our little true crime world, we sort of become familiar with the red flags. These little kids get to it hard and break. It does. It gets right into your, becomes part of your own DNA. Tennessee has a lot of sheriff departments. and deputies being sued the last 3 years for some reason. Huge shift in officers due to so many reasons. Where'd it go, Hillbilly Heart? Huge shift in officers due to so many on leave. Yeah. Someone is going after Cher. Yeah, Miss Justice, I'm really behind with what's going on over there. Yesterday I seen her and Mandy were having online live, I don't know, they were just at each other, and something about Predator Nation tried to set, I don't know, I can't even explain it. I just think it's all crazy. You need to look that up. She has been beat up by the mother's boyfriend and she's blind, and the grandmother. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I'm pretty certain, Priscilla, I know exactly which little baby Mackenzie you're talking about. I think one of the other creators has done some videos with her, but I will do some more research and we can have a chat about that as well. Yeah, but shoot the emails through, guys, with different things, topics, questions we can talk about together. Yes, Q Carlock. That's exactly who's been promoting that. So sad. I've seen one little video where she's her breathing. Oh my God. It was traumatic. It was that poor little thing. Like, I don't understand why these parents can just say, yeah, nah, this is not for me, and just hand a baby over. Why do they have to hurt them? It scares me sometimes that we will get it wrong and put an innocent, yeah, and I know. I know I'd be nervous, anxious wreck if my daughter ever went missing. And there would have probably been more compassion for the Wells. This is just my opinion. If things didn't go from shit to catastrophic in the way they have portrayed themselves, the way they've behaved is another level of, yeah, it's always in the back of your mind, what if they didn't? Even though you feel, yeah, 100% I think this, but then you've always got that little voice in the back of your subconscious saying, yeah, but what if they didn't? And this is an innocent mum and dad who didn't do anything to someone, you know? But I haven't flip-flopped. I still believe what I thought in the first 10 minutes of that very first interview is that she's been hurt after they've got home and they've tried to cover it up by hiding her. I don't know exactly what it is, but I've always had a gut feeling it's got something to do with the candy, and that she's run into the house, skiting to the boys, maybe, look at, I've got candy. Maybe they've chased her for the candy and she's flew down them stairs and hurt herself. Oh, Hillbilly Heart's going to bed. Good night, Liz. I hope you have a good rest. J Cash, you're fine. But guys, I'm going to play this little thing just because I really, really have to go to the ladies' room right now. And you can chat with each other while I get that out of the way. And I am up in the studio, so I've got to walk like, I tried to explain it the other day distance-wise. It's like from Candace's house to Grandma's house, twice, like twice that little distance. So I'll go and take care of that and come back. And I just think this, listen to the,
A takeoff for a build could be anything from 2-3 days up to a week. So with Build Exact now, I'm down to under a day to be able to get all my takeoffs done and ready to quote.
Skip.
Right, so we've got about 50 law enforcement personnel back here in the park. This is kind of an opening to more than 25,000 acres that are over here under the Carlton Reserve. So obviously it's a vast area. Seems like that's nothing new in this case, but that's what's going on here. We got 5 different local agencies, including the FBI, helping us with it.
What is the hope that Brian is actually out here still, especially since the parents haven't seen him allegedly since Tuesday?
We're hopeful. We're hopeful that he's, out here. Certainly we prepare for all different possibilities. But our goal is to locate him and bring him back to Northport.
What makes you think it's this area that he might be in?
His family says that this is a place that he frequents. They also believe that this is where he came. And again, this is according to them.
And does he like to hike in this area? Like, what does he do here?
That's my understanding. That's what they believe. They believe that he came out here on Tuesday.
And what exactly did they tell you about what happened on Tuesday? Was it in the evening? Like he walked out? Did he say anything to his parents?
He had his backpack. He said that this is where he was coming.
And did he say why?
Not that I'm.
Why they waited?
Not that I know.
Why did they wait until yesterday to tell you that this?
That's a great question. We've obviously been trying to reach the family and them to get answers in this case since Saturday. The first time that we've had any in-depth full conversation with them was yesterday. Their attorney called and said the family is concerned about Brian's whereabouts. They would like to file a missing persons report.
Has the federal agency aided in any way with regards to cell phone tracking?
Of course.
Does that bring you here along with what the parents say?
I do not believe that's what brought us here. I believe that we're acting. Some of that stuff takes time to get all of that. We've been working on that for basically where they've been for the last 3 weeks. So certainly over the last 12 hours, I don't know that we've been able to triangulate that, if you will. But we are certainly, at this point, we're going by their word. We're going by the family's word of where they think that he's at. We believe that his vehicle may have been here too.
And when the family said yesterday that this is Tuesday, did they say that he was here yesterday, or is this something they just told you guys today?
They said the last time they saw him is when he came here.
You mentioned his vehicle. What about the vehicle? Was the vehicle found on site?
It was not.
It was not. Where was the vehicle found?
It was at Laundrie's home.
At their home?
Yes.
Well, you said that they thought that he was in his vehicle.
Right.
So, I mean, if it was at their house, why would they think that?
I mean, look, we're going by their word. We believe that vehicle did make its way from here back to that house.
Do we think his skills could maybe be more of a challenge since he's used to being outdoors and it's so rugged out here? Could he be deeply affected?
Yeah, I mean, these are people that were living off the grid in different areas. I don't know how frequently if he would come out here and do, day-long hikes or whatever. I mean, it's you could be out here for months if you wanted.
You've got the vehicle tracked here, and then he found it back home. Is there any indication that there might be somebody aiding him in his attempts to evade?
Well, any indication?
Any indication that maybe there'd be somebody else?
I mean, I think, we have to go by what they're telling us at this point. Certainly, we are looking at, to corroborate all of the information we've received.
And what day did the vehicle leave the house, and what day did it return? Was that all on Tuesday?
I believe it was Tuesday. I actually, as far as it coming here, I do not know the date that it was returned.
And what type of vehicle was it?
I believe, we're getting into some things that I think I certainly have not had a conversation about what I can say and what I can't. But we know the answer to that.
With the search operation with thousands of acres and heavily wooded, what obstacles are you guys facing out here?
Well, you just named it, right? I mean, it's wooded, it's been wet. It's hot, but you know, I mean, we have drones up, we have 4-wheelers, you know, and we've got 50 people who are used to dealing with these types of elements. I mean, most of these folks are from Florida and know what it's like.
And this sounds like something could probably solved a lot quicker if people would just talk to you. It seems like they're
you got the good questions today.
Family, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if you've even watched it, what would you say? I mean, just like
Sure.
a bunch of questions.
Well, I mean, this is where we're at. I mean, that's the bottom line. You know, our job is, you know, Brian is a resident of this community. Brian was not a suspect in a crime. Brian was a person of interest and a missing person. You know, we're not following him everywhere he's going. You know, there's been some of that, you know, that conversation floating out there, and that's just not how it works.
Could you tell us how it works for those that don't know?
No, I can't tell you exactly how it always works, but you know, what I know is that, you know, were we trying to keep an eye out kind of where he's at so that when needed we could, you know, potentially reach him? Yes. But, you know, our focus was putting resources on trying to find Gabby. We knew that look, Brian wasn't willing to talk. That was abundantly clear. We were attempting. So we were putting our resources on trying to find Gabby. We knew we would deal with Brian eventually, but this is certainly a twist.
Is there any concern, especially since the parents withheld this information, that this could be just another decoy, maybe a way to throw you off for a little bit while he moves on?
Well, I'll leave that speculation to you guys. You know, don't forget, I mean, you know, I don't know. I've never had a missing child in my life, but I think you get to, you know, a point of concern, whether that be a day, 2 days, 3 days. I think that depends on the individual and the circumstances. Remember, I mean, you know, Gabby's parents, it was a significant amount of time before they became concerned. You know, I can't fully answer it.
And did the parents say anything about Gabby last night, or did they only want to talk about Brian?
Their attorney was on the phone with us and, you know, was giving them counsel as we spoke, and all of the conversation was only about the whereabouts of Brian.
Is there any chance Gabby's with him?
No, I have no information that is.
So you mentioned
even
earlier
likely.
today there was canines out there. They had some articles of clothing. Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
so we've received a couple questions overnight about, you know, there was some things taken out of the home yesterday during the, you know, this missing person investigation, and those were articles of clothing for our canines to be able to get a scent.
And for those that keep asking, you know, with a person of interest wanted to talk to him, but he wouldn't communicate at all. I didn't want to talk to you guys at all. For those thinking, why not just arrest him or bring him in and force him to talk to you? What's that?
We don't have a crime. You know, we're looking for somebody. You know, I mean, that's it. I mean, we can't go just pulling people in. He certainly has the Fifth Amendment not to speak. And you know, we're respectful of that. We get it. We're frustrated. Just a couple more, please. I'm sure I could be here all day.
Fifth Amendment right?
That's a technical question. I think that's accurate. When you go to the door and you say, "Would like to, are you willing to speak with us about what's going on?" and they say, "Here's the name and number for our attorney." I mean, I don't know if they actually said that, physical words of that. But
Can you tell us the name of it?
that's been widely publicized. I don't have
any
that.
chance that the family thinks he's suicidal?
I don't know that I'm comfortable saying that. I think we can, you know, anything's possible.
Can you speak to some of the tactics? I know there's canine units and different things that are going on. Just what you guys are using to search this
Sure.
area?
So we've got, you know, 5-6 different agencies that are out there. We've got 50 plus folks. We've had drones in the air. We've got bloodhounds, canines, 4-wheelers, side-by-sides, certainly out there. It's very wet.
Who's leading the search?
We are working in conjunction with the FBI to lead this investigation.
We saw airboats being used earlier. Is that part of the investigation as well?
Actually, I have not heard the word airboat. It's possible. This canal that runs, is that where you saw them right here in this canal? Yeah. So what they did is they started the search kind of in the park area. Certainly most of you are not familiar with this park. It's about 200 acres. And then there's a bridge which crosses over into the Carlton, which is about 25,000 acres. So the initial focus was on the 200 acres here. and then spreading out there.
Do you have an estimate of how long it would take to search the entire
Oh,
2,500?
I do not, but you can imagine a long time.
What do you need for this to become a criminal investigation?
I think we would need official confirmation of a crime.
And would you classify this as a grid search?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Folks outside of Florida, can you describe the conditions that your teams are in right now and will be in for the next
It's muddy. It's wet. There are a few unpaved dirt roads that are out there, basically running along power lines. It's a place that people hike. There are mountain biking trails out there. The Myakkahatchee Creek runs from Myakka City, runs down basically into the city. It's also diverted along these man-made canals that are over here.
It's believed that he entered from here.
Correct.
Does Ryan own a gun?
I cannot speak to that.
Is there any reason that people that live nearby or people that may be in the park should be concerned? Or what advice do you have for them?
Well, I mean, there's 50 law enforcement officers out here, so it's probably the safest place in Northport. I don't have any information that, other people's lives are in danger.
Is the park closed to the public?
It is.
At the moment, do you believe Brian might be in danger?
Sure. I think that's fair to say. I mean, you have somebody, there's an enormous amount of pressure, I'm sure, on him to provide answers and what's going on here.
What was his emotional state when he left his parents' house?
I don't know.
A takeoff for a build could be anything from
Yeah, it says quite a lot, doesn't it? That little interview. I just don't understand. Do they have confirmed knowledge that he's in that area? Not just the parents say so. Because all the resources they're putting into searching for Brian, when they're saying he hasn't committed a crime, just seems totally back to front and insane to me. Like there's something that doesn't add up. I'm not sure, Jay Cash, if they're both from New York. We could be peachy ducks. We could be peachy ducks. That sounds so cute, doesn't it? Peachy ducks. We might go with that. Very cute. Do you guys see what I'm saying with that whole thing with this big search? And why wasn't he being monitored prior to his parents' phone call? And this is the same question I keep coming back to every time I think about them looking for him now, is did they physically cite the guy when they went to the house, when they were given the attorney information? Have they actually cited and spoken to him in person? Because if they haven't, then who knows where on earth this guy is. About his mental health and safety. So then they would class him as a missing vulnerable person. They're hypocrites. They've got the morals of an alley cat that they will not say one word about Gabby, but now supposedly they're in the same situation, but not in the same situation as Gabby's parents, and they want help. It's a different scenario. They're taking resources away from looking for Gabby, and they're making it about Brian's safety. And that's not normal. My husband has to spend every night at his mum's while I find home care workers that are good and we trust. So it's been hard, but being on this channel before bed helps. Oh, I'm glad it helps, Shannon. Yeah, like we all have things in our lives that, and that's what I was trying to say earlier, Shannon, about how the channel and meeting you all and chatting with you all, it does fill some sort of void in my life that I really, really passionately appreciate. And, oh, you just noticed. It's okay, Peachy Duck. I appreciate your help. I appreciate anything positive, and that's what we have here. Hi, Amber Robinson. Yeah, I think we're all doing pretty good. We're all frustrated and angry and don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me, Amber. What's going on in both cases? Apparently, Don's, I just come across this when I was running down to the toilet. Don was trying to get Cher to ring Mary and put in a good word for him and trying to get them to back off. So isn't that interfering and doing everything illegal that he's not supposed to be doing with the SA cases? And there are screenshots of him contacting Cher to carry out this communication. So I'm pretty sure right there, he's going to be in a hell of a lot of shit. And like, let's face it, law enforcement need to make them accountable for something. Hi, wishful thinking. Does anyone here agree that the two recent homicides in that area are connected? It's the most insane coincidence I have ever come across, but I, in my gut, don't feel they're related, only because of that last bit of info that come out about the storage shed, and allegedly there were drugs and different types of drugs and scales and paraphernalia they found in that storage shed that belonged to the two women, and the fact that the way their bodies were found, like, yeah, trigger warning, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritties, but there was SA involved with both of them apparently, and yeah, I don't think they're related. But it's the whole point that he's not talking. Like, if Brian would just say something, you know, it's gonna, it can't make it any worse for him, put it that way. Oh my God, Amber. He accuses everybody of taking the focus off Summer, yet how many live telephone interviews and discussions and videos has he done with the Shares and Jay for Justice and any other Tom, Dick and Harry who'll give him a platform to talk? He's taken it off Summer himself. And like, I know they're not allowed to talk about the boys, but from day one, this guy has only ever addressed his love for Summer. Have you ever, tell me now, and put a 1 in the chat, have you ever heard him talk about his boys in a loving way or say that he loves his boys and he'd do anything for his boys. Like, I've never heard him talk passionately about his boys only, and this is before the boys were still in their care. Even when the boys were still in their care, he never talked in a loving way about his boys, ever. You know, and to me, that's just, you talk about your kids, not just one of them. Well, normal people do. You don't just single out 1 out of 4 children that you love passionately, and that one child is your world, and, you know, God has given you a gift with that one child when you have 4 children. And I don't think that's just a maternal mother thing either. I couldn't imagine my husband saying he passionately loves one of our daughters without mentioning the other 2 kids. That is just insane. I was asking about trolls the other day in another chat, but nobody replied, laughing out loud. I felt so. Why would you feel super stupid? We don't have many. We've had on and off a couple, but we've been pretty lucky that. And I suppose the more people you have in a chat, the more likelihood you're going to get haters and trolls and things like that. But I'm quite happy to not have 500 people in our chat to avoid the horrible trolls. We have trolls, but nothing like USA. I was wondering if there were tolls for... Oh, tolls, not trolls. Sorry, Miley. Like highway tolls, where we have those in like Sydney and Melbourne, a lot of the really big highways, but nothing around our area. But yeah, I don't know if USA have tolls. Like, they're really expensive in Australia too, some of them. Like to catch him on camera and see if she was with him or track him. We had one earlier. Yeah, thanks, Josie, for dealing. It didn't matter. He didn't want to have a constructive conversation. And like, I'm happy to, if you guys disagree, like, that's totally fine. I've got no problem with that. And I'm happy to look at every perspective. But that guy just wanted to bash Gabby. And we're not doing that in here. Like, no. He was trying to insinuate that because of that altercation in the body cam video that, you know, she's provoked it in some way. And that's reading between the lines. That's what he was trying to say. Tollways mostly out east, but also in Iowa. Oh, there you go. Thanks, wishful thinking. Tolls here are expensive considering this. I know, Miley. They're really bad in Sydney. Like, to go from like a 40 miles roughly journey in Sydney from one part of Sydney to another, I think it's like $3 each way, Australian dollars each way. So if you wanted to go right into the city and you lived out in the western suburbs, it's going to cost you $6 to drive there in your own car, just in tolls. It's crazy. And like, we don't have to pay for parking in our town either. Whereas you go to Sydney or Canberra or any of the big places, you have to pay for parking. I mean, from Utah to Florida, are there tolls between, or is it open road? Good question, Miley. You don't have tolls in Indiana that I'm aware of. They do in Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, I believe. And did you notice, I know this is just a random question, but it's been on my mind. There's this directive, funny conversation about Don and Candace leaving. And they took a trip to Kentucky. Does anyone know what that's about? Because is that after the boys were taken? I haven't quite got the gist of that story, where they're going with that. Yes, these parents are very much hypocrites, but I was also thinking it's all another play on their chessboard too. In both cases, Shannon, when you think about it. But I don't know whether I can play it, guys, or if this guy will strike me. So his channel is called, getting back to this Jeffrey Barrett character in the Summer Wells case, and the threats and stuff coming from him to YouTube creators. The video I was going to play you guys is from Enchanted Life Path, and he's the one who's exposed this guy for exactly who he is and who he is linked to. And can you put a 1 in the chat if you've watched Enchanted Life Path's video on Jeffrey Barrett? So I guess I can track him since it's open roads, and maybe he didn't even think the highway. So you've seen it, Patricia? Hey, DowCow81. You're new. I haven't seen you in here before, but welcome. Yeah, and if there's any new people in here that haven't come into the chat but are listening, if you guys could subscribe and like, share, I really do appreciate it. You haven't seen it, Josie? I really don't like playing stuff if I haven't asked the creators, but being the fact that it's about this guy that's been giving everyone such a hard time, I don't think this guy would, like, he wanted it out there. He wanted people to be aware of who this guy was and who he's linked to, etc. So the only thing I found when I watched it is his accent is really hard to understand at times. So I don't know. What do you think? Should we play it or not? Welcome, DowCow. Yes, welcome. What? Oh, we just jinxed ourselves, guys. Because we just inherited. God help us. I have seen some of Enlighten, maybe not that actual video, challenging to understand, but he is very enthusiastic. Yeah, he analyzes things sort of on a different point of view altogether. I just found that video exposing this Jeffrey Barrett guy to be intriguing because he's linked. He's at so he's a city commissioner for Hawkins County, but he's also at a couple of the prayer vigils with his hand in one prayer vigil. You can see him in the background with his hand on Candace's shoulder. Thank you, Josie. I knew one of you would get onto it. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, multidimensional. That's a good word for it, wishful thinking. Yeah, that was just weird, wasn't it, guys? That Dow cow. I love to see new names come in, but what do they get out of doing things like that? I don't understand. It drives me insane. I want to ask if he can add closed caption because I'm having a hard time understanding, but I don't want to come off as rude. Yeah, I find it hard to understand him as well. But the gist of the whole video, I won't play it because it is hard to decipher verbally, is that this Jeffrey Barrett being in the position he is, he describes how this guy was at, he shows the video of this guy at a commissioners meeting and how he's trying to get $250,000 for a project for the area where Summer was swimming that time, where she was, that last little video was taken. And you can see the demeanor of the other people in the meeting that sort of, they sort of, their body language shows they're very dismissive of him and they sort of shrink. And yeah, you could tell they didn't like either him or what he was saying. That was very telling. And then he goes to show you how this guy is with Don and Candace at these prayer vigils, and your cell phone has closed captions, look through settings. Oh, really? So you can turn them on by yourself. The creator doesn't have to do it, Patricia? Because I've learned something else new there. I hope you're all doing really well, guys. But also know that we're here for each other. The video doesn't. Don and Candace didn't show up for the prayer visual. Robin said Don working, Candace sick, but both were drunk at home. Just heard that. Yeah. That was the night where they were both, one was on the toilet, and let's not even think about it. I just don't think I'll ever forget seeing Candace in that state. And they're the ones saying that everyone else is taking the focus off Summer. Come on now, guys. Let's keep it real. And I will still say that Cher and Benny and Mr. Cher, by letting, by putting this, oh, okay, Priscilla, I'll check. By letting them go live in them sort of situations is only damaging everything. It's damaging the fact that it's really showing the true side of Don and Candace and their eligibility to be good parents for the boys. It's damaging the focus on Summer, and it's never ending. But Don, you just keep blaming the rest of the world for taking the focus off Summer, because man, you're doing that all on your own and you're good at it. It's just beyond a joke. He's so concerned about the essay and so concerned about going back to Utah and going back to jail. But guys, then he says, this is another thing that's irritated me. So he says he's institutionalized and he's grown up in jail and he wouldn't want to see his worst enemy. Remember on the interview room things he said to Chris McDonough when Chris said to him, what would you like to see happen to the person who has taken Summer, if that's what's happened? And he said he didn't know. He said he didn't know whether he wanted that person to go to jail because it's not a good place to be. Okay, remember all that? Okay. So then he's having a conversation. I can't even tell you who it was he was having a conversation with. It was probably Mrs. Cher one day last week. And he was talking about how much he loved it in jail. And they have the best food in jail. And he got to have really good jobs while he was in jail. And I'm like, which is it, dude? You like jail or it's the worst place on earth? Like everything the guy talks about, he contradicts himself. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm imagining, did he really just say that, or am I just thinking that? Hit the like button. Yes, please. Thank you, Shannon. It's about even chat and likes. Aww. Yeah, that just blows my mind. Anyway, guys, I better go and get some lunch ready for hubby and do a few things. But I might come back on in a few hours. And if there's any updates on anything, I will be jumping back on for sure. And thank you all so much for coming in and listening and sharing. And be sure to hit me up in the email or Facebook Messenger or something if you want to discuss is it 12 hours difference in AU? I'm pretty sure it is, Miley. So right now in Australia, it is 1:43 p.m. Bon appetito. I love that. Thank you, Kimmy Jean. Thank you all for coming in and having a chat with me. And if there's anything breaking, believe me, I will be straight back on here. But if not, I might just come back on later on anyway. So it's 10:43 at 10:43, 11:43 p.m. Oh my God. That really, yeah, I mean later. So it will be morning time to you guys in my time zone. Thanks so much for the stream, Duck, our fierce mods, great team. Good night, all good vibes. Yes, absolutely. J Cash. Don, I love that wishful thinking. Don on Chameleon Wells. You take care too, Miley, Patricia, May, wishful thinking, Shannon. I don't want to leave anyone out. Josie, Priscilla, J Cash, Kimmy Jean, Deborah Sharp. He has more than a split personality, Deborah Sharp. Who have it? Carla Gentry. Oh, I didn't see you come in. And yeah, so it'll be morning time because I don't go to sleep till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So you guys will be getting up when I go live again anyway. So it's all good. I won't miss anybody. Thanks heaps, guys, and we'll talk very soon. Have a good sleep. And remember, you're worth it. See yous.